Hi, I'm Daniel, and I'm sorry for what I made. I'm sorry for what I've done. I'm so sorry. Geese. Geese are an animal that can fly, swim, or terrorize you, which does make it hard to really understand how they talk, because when you ask them, they might do any one of those things. But it is true that geese have advanced language capabilities. Steve Kaufman? Geese don't cough. Oh god. Honk. No, that's not it. Honk. 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 What did that say? Honk. Sorry. Honk. 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 I'm so sorry for what I'm doing to you. So sorry for what I am doing to you, dear viewer. If you are watching in the future, or this just came in your recommendation somehow, this is for the Agmaswa Cursed Conlang Contest. If you're watching for that, you already knew that. I am going to put in other videos about linguistics or other things. So if you like this, at least someone likes it. Because this is a problem. This is a problem. I am a worse person for having made this. A quick note, if there's anything I messed up, like due to being a novice conlanger, or like someone's like, oh, that's not really how linguistics work, it's just geese, you know, it's universal goose grammar. And if you criticize this conlang, then Goose Noam Chomsky is going to busy you in the night, so help me.
Get on with it!
In goosic, there's only one real phoneme. It says like an open, mid-back, rounded vowel, but it's nasalized, so it's like on. Of course, I have human vocal cords, so that's how I say it. Geese say it a little different. I'm not a goose. If you want to see a goose say it, go to where geese are. Different honkemes are created by the single phoneme based on length and tone. Goosic honkemes can be short, long, overlong, or hyperlong, because of course they can. Tones are high, medium, low, rising, falling, low, high, mid, mid, high, low, mid, low, high, and high, low, mid. Although short vowels have been reduced to being analyzed and spoken as pretty much toneless due to sound changes, which we'll get to the sound changes. This makes 28 total honkemes, which are the equivalent of phonemes as well as syllables in human languages. Am I good at producing tonal languages? No, not at all. Quick note on orthography. Considering that the Goosic alphabet is forbidden to be seen by human eyes, or non-goose eyes, honestly, as far as I understand, I've created an ad hoc method to display Goosic honkemes. So basically, I have the open mid-back rounded vowel symbol from the IPA. I didn't put the nasal diacritic on it, even though that looks nice. I didn't do it because it's hard to get it on in the word processor I'm using to write this script. I say script because this is garbage what I wrote. I'm a menace to myself. Anyway, the number of times that symbol is repeated indicates the length, obviously, and the letters at the beginning indicate the tone, so low, medium, high. My original idea, I was going to use macrons, so sort of to indicate long vowels like in Latin, and then I was going to have them kind of go up, like make a shape, so like how Vietnamese does with diacritics indicate tone. And I was gonna like stack them on each other. But when there were like 2 or 3, then the second one, I was gonna have it be like a picture of French President Emmanuel Macron. But that joke would have been about this funny, and it would have taken me this long to do that, so I didn't. But just imagine yourself giving a light suckle to that. Can I get some hypothetical LOLs in the chat? Can I get LOL in the subjunctive mood, please? Can the class give me that? Thank you. What's that? Do I hear a human being frivolous and having a fun time outside? Let me put a stop to this real quick. Oh, that ruined the joke, doesn't it? I'm gonna have to like mute it when I get up. Damn, that's horrible. Goosic is an agglutinative language, which has nothing to do with being an agglutinative language. It's not. It's agglutinative because a goose is native. Most geese are native in goose. Regular verbs end in a single short honkim. So do adjectives in the modern language, at least in the dialects that we've studied, due to sound changes. It used to be a bit of a more robust morphology before sound changes. Some nouns create as a combination of more basic root words, such as law, for example, comes from serious or important, and writing. Actually, that's why writing isn't serious or important. Plurals are formed by following the word with the pluralizing particle, which is ha. The plural particle is not mandatory, and in many cases, if it works to just use the generic or singular term, that will be used without the plural particle. Now, you may wonder what is the difference between an affix and just another word that's next to it. And for that, we turn once again to the golden maxim of linguistics. Don't worry about it! The first thing to know about goosic verbs is there are 3 copulants in goosic. One comes from the word meaning to stand, like a star in Spanish. One comes from the word meaning to float or swim, and one comes from the word meaning to fly. The one derived from standing denotes, a place that you're in or an activity that you're doing. I am in my apartment. I was in your front yard. I will be watching you sleep tonight. The one derived from floating, since water is considered less solid and more transient, denotes sort of like a state of mind or the passive voice. I am running out of patience with my boss. Earlier, I was melting down silverware to make a really cool, really sharp sword. They won't be found by the police. That's a terrible joke. It's a terrible joke, and you're terrible for laughing at it if you did. But I wrote it and thought it was funny, and I kept it in. Like you see, I kept it in. What did that say about me? The one derived from flying, since geese are birds, and flying is very important to their identity, their existence. that denotes things that are more essential or identifying with them. So something like, I am American, I was a child, Black Country New Road are a great band. Tense is weird. This is an idea I had, and someone else had a similar idea. I found when I was looking this up. I don't know if they ever made this into something more fleshed out, and I'd like to make it into something more fleshed out. But it's basically tense by a word order. It is entirely head initial. And the basic word order is SVO in the non-past. And yes, auxiliary verbs are mandatory in goosic. In addition to the pre-mentioned copulate, these include a handful of modal verbs, as well as negative forms of all of these, which evolved from a now non-existent negation particle. Wait to get to the sound things. Let's not do that yet. That since the tense and aspect require there to be an auxiliary verb and a lexical verb, if there's no lexical verb, then you can just throw in the particle which is the dummy lexical verb. So yeah, if there's two auxiliary verbs, then the first one will get the suffixes, more on that in a second, and the second one will just be glommed on like right after, unless there's no lexical verb, in which that one will act like the dummy lexical verb for the inversions. I hope that makes sense. If it does, cool, can you explain to me? Goosic auxiliary verbs come with two additional suffixes to indicate context. Let me explain. First off, geese like puns. If you didn't know this, now you do. If something is an obvious fact, like if a goose is telling you that Mount Everest is tall, then the evidentiality / mood suffix will be derived from the word for silly, because if you don't believe that Mount Everest is tall, you're just being a silly goose. Second, if it is something that they've seen with their own eyes, like if they're telling you that, someone that they know climbed Mount Everest and they saw them do it, then they would say that it is something they've taken a gander at. And it will therefore be the word that is derived from gander in goosic. And then if it is something that they've heard, well, a herd of geese is a gaggle, so it comes to the word for gaggle. And now if it is something that is hypothetical, well, that's honkathetical, so it comes from the word meaning to speak or to honk. If it's just an opinion or an unverifiable belief, well, then it's similar to how goose are, they're drawn to certain things, like their migration patterns come from them being drawn to the magnetic forces of the earth. So it's magnetic, so it comes from the word meaning magnet, the suffix. Experienced in a non-visual or auditory manner, then there's just no suffix, which is not because I couldn't think of a goose-related pun for that. And if you're asking why these puns are based on English words, shut them! You've heard how birds of a feather flock together? Well, words of the weather are locked forever onto goosic sentences. Because due to how important weather is for a flying animal, goosic auxiliary verbs receive a suffix based on the weather conditions. And again, both these suffixes are attached to the auxiliary verb. The lexicon, sadly, is often not filled too deep with semantic intrigue, as the definitions of goosic words often mirror English definitions. But this can be explained due to a strong Sprachbund effect with English. However, there are a couple interesting tidbits. An example, the word egg is the same as the word for earth, and as well as ground, due to the goose myth that the mother goose laid Earth as an egg 69,000 years ago, and geese are waiting for the egg to hatch, where the great gosling will fly out and lead all the geese on the grand migration across the stars, where they will reunite with the mother goose as one great gaggle and swim together in a lake of gold. You will also notice, if you look at the lexicon with all like attached or something, which should be a link in the description, you will notice the aggressive homonyms. This is because of the sound change. In Proto-Goosic, there was a different tonal system where short honkemes had tone instead of the complex contour tones that we have today. There was just more simple contour tones, but eventually these simplified. The complex contour tones evolved later, and word final honkemes got reduced. And it's all just such a muddled mess, especially with the short honkemes losing their tone. But Goosic speakers will swear up and down that they can understand everything through context. One set of homonyms particularly of note to linguists is the fact that most numerals, as well as most determiners, have simplified to which, as you will remember, is also the dummy lexical verb, as well as a couple other words of that too. So they've basically, via sound change, lost their words for different numbers. This is something that geese find several ways around, such as saying it multiple times to indicate a higher number. And in some dialects, it seems like geese are starting to pronounce the honkemes as ultra short to indicate it's a small number. It seems different in different dialects, and unfortunately we were only able to get a lot of information from one dialect of Goosic. As more research is done, I'll definitely share updates. Just know if you see Daniel Everett, no relation, following waterfowl at a pond with a notepad, don't bother him, he's working. Hi, this is Daniel for a quick intermission. I'm letting you know that my joke earlier is actually wrong. Geese can cough. Most animals, it seems, can cough. Dolphins cannot cough, by the way. That's an interesting fact. And I might make another conlang in the future, which is the dolphin language. You could call it Finnish. Poetry in Goosic is based on triangular numbers, because geese fly. It's not a triangle. It's like a V shape. This is so stupid. What am I doing? It's almost a triangle, okay? Each line of a Goosic poem must have a number of honkemes that is equal to the triangular number corresponding to what line it is in. So 1, 3, 6, etc. I will now attempt to read a short Goosic poem. On, 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 on. Hey, wait! Now, you may wonder why that didn't have all the grammatical constructs of the auxiliary verbs. Well, it's poetry. It's poetic license. Did you know that many famous celebrities actually speak Goosic? These include Ryan Gosling, and now for what you came here for. This is gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. I hope I did the glossing right. Oh. oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh, oh. Apologies for my accent, by the way. It's not very good. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. God, that. Oh, 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 oh. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Agma Swa for inspiring me to do this and giving my anxiety an excuse to actually publish a video. I've been trying to publish a video for a while, and I'll post more here. Some of them may be worse than this, if that's possible. I'll try to make them worse. I'll try to make sure people suffer consequences as payback to the world for the consequences I have suffered.